my co-host, and we've talked a number of times on this subject. Welcome aboard again. I haven't seen you for a while, Andre Bellos, and he's a sovereign citizen of the kingdom of God. But we appreciate the fact that he's here on the show to explain to us some of the things about the MERS scandal, the real estate problem, and what people should look for and try to do today in the real estate market, and how it's going to affect the rest of us in the years to come. Now, we know that a new generation has been created, not a new generation, but a new society of people have been created. And that's those that are the haves and the have-nots. Okay, that's the only way to put it now. It's not red, yellow, black, and white. It's an economic barrier divided between the haves and the have-nots. So tell us about how the haves are trying to keep the have-nots from getting anywhere. What do I mean?
Well, to begin with, since we had these programs and more people are listening and more people are watching the videos on the YouTubes, and you keep watching all the updates on it. Of course, I've been out under attack a lot lately. It's bankers really don't like what I'm telling people. They try to throw some lawsuits at me, which is really pointless because I'm going to throw the lawsuits at them. But the things what's really happening in this country, I got to give a point to the people from the Occupy Wall Street right now. They're doing a great job. They still don't know everything, but they are at least doing something. They are going after these CEOs, and you're correct. Couple things what's happened, pointed out was this summer. On the August 12th, I received the papers, which is the UCC1 filings. I'll point them later on the screen. What those UCC filings came from is actually from US TREASURY. And they are against Federal Reserve Board. So finally, United States taking Federal Reserve putting a lien against Federal Reserve for $14.3 trillion, what we owe in the taxes. They go on with the United States Army against them, with all the people of United States, and with prejudice. We're all going after those bankers. It's also a lien against U.S. Bank, whereas they do know what's the cause of the problem is actually came from the bankers. On the September 30th of this year, the new report came out, the government report, who actually caused the collapse of the economy of 2008. I really recommend, I'm going to put the website for it, to read and understand who caused the problem, how it was created. It's all pointed out to the mortgage-backed securities and all these mortgages was created. A lot of them was created in bad faith, whereas the bankers, since they were doing all these mortgages, and now they come up with the new mortgages, adjustable rates, and the liar's loan, what they call it, where they would try to make people's income so much higher so they can continue making the loans in the higher. They would ask for the appraisals to be specifically higher, and if the appraisal cannot come up with a specific amount, they would not use him again. So it's all this coming out right now to play. Whereas the mortgage originators, was the problems. They're the one who was getting the money on the origination of the loan, on the back, what it's called spread premium. They were getting paid to give you higher interest rate, so they can they would not give you the best rate, because if the banks would always give them a better pay if they would give you a worse rate. So you really always got to go and research all these originators, mortgage brokers. I used to kind of believe what they were good people, but really they're liars. They lied to you. They gave you into these mortgages, which is right now underwater, and it's all their faults. They read that report. I mean, it's 600 pages. Of course, I know the United States don't read too much, but you really need to kind of educate yourself, because if you don't educate yourself, who will? That's something what people need to do. We are taking initiative. We're fighting in courts. We're trying to prove the points and help the homeowners, to keep their houses so they can be helped. But if you don't do anything about it, if you fall down and just don't educate yourself, who are you going to blame later? So I'm telling every single person, please research. Start researching about MERS scandal. Research about how the money creates. Read the book, what's called Secret of the Temple. It's from 1970s. It's a book was explained how the Federal Reserve was running this country and how is everything right now flipping upside down. We're living in a very crucial days. We're living in a days when, if you want to go to the Bible prophecy, it's pointed out to the Revelation 17:16, whereas there's a lot of, all this corruption is going to be exposed, and the governments of the world will go after them, those false religions, which starts with Federal Reserve. Most of you don't even know what the Federal Reserve is actually a temple, and they worship there. There's so many different secret societies which is worship to the Federal Reserve, worship to the money. Look at the $1 bill; it's full of symbols. What do those symbols came from? It's people need to start paying attention. They're there not just for no reason. They're there for a reason.
All right. What we want to do is because you talked about a lot of things in this conversation. What we want to try to do is pinpoint some things that will be some answers for some of the people out there, the listeners. Now, I know you explained this paper, but I'm trying to find out what is the importance of this paper for someone to understand a paper like this.
The importance of this paper is actually, like I explained, it's Revelation 17:16, whereas the 10 kings of the last days will actually give the power to beast to the kingdom. So it's going to be established a new world order. So it's not going to be any secret. It's already there. Okay, and they actually that new world government will go after the whore, which was riding on the beast, and the whore is explained in the Revelation 17, the last verse, where it's Vatican, Vatican, which sits between 7 hills and controls all the kings of the earth for all these generations. So now all the connections between Federal Reserve and Vatican Bank has been established long ago. Just like it's so many, you really gotta be researching where the banking came from, research about how did the Federal Reserve was organized in 1913, why did they organize it, why did the United States was bankrupt in 1933, why did the Roosevelt took all the gold and silver from the people. Also research it, where's the gold now? There is another fact which is I need to point it out to the people. You got to remember, 2 weeks prior to 9/11, all the gold from Fort Knox, again, one more time, all the gold from Fort Knox was moved to the Twin Towers in the basement, and it was stolen during the cleanup. So you gotta really understand it was not just a caveman who flew the planes. Yeah, they did fly the planes, but they were paid to do it. They were paid by somebody who has the alternative motives to do it. And one of the alternative motives was to hide all the evidences. What they do not have any paperwork. Everything was digital.
Well, now how do they go about proving that? What you're saying, because those are pretty strong charges.
You gotta ask the Congress right now. You gotta keep asking the Congress for showing the gold. That's one of the reasons why the chief of IMF was arrested a few months ago on the charges of the rape, but he got out of it. But it was one of the reasons because they were trying to find out where the gold went. Okay. Because we have no gold right now, none. And it's really absurd kind of. And also you got to remember what the gold and Federal Reserves are actually stacked in pyramids for some reason. Why would you build it in a pyramid?
Now, how did you come about that? Because
I'm
trying to believe it.
I have friends who's in the very, very high positions in the governments, and they explain it to me because there is a lot of good people in the governments, and I got addressed to the sovereign people and just regular people in this planet. Do not just fight the government. Government is not the problem. Bankers are the problems. They're the ones who's lobbying to pass some laws which will abuse us. Government was always created just for the good of the people. not for to totally.
Okay, and I follow what you're saying, but now what can I do as a person? I mean, it looks so complicated, and it's hard to believe that I'll get any results. So what do I do?
Don't bring it up all this stuff. What I just said it right away, because they will say you crazy. The simplest things what's to do is for you, if you deal with any debt period.